Sheehan exposed dozens of out-of-state trips by the superintendent of Pittsburgh Public Schools that cost tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars.
And this evening, State Auditor General Eugene DePasquale is revealing his findings to Andy, calling Anthony Hamlet's trips and spending inexcusable. It is a story you will see only on KDKA.
After we exposed that now infamous Cuba trip and detailed dozens of other out-of-state and out-of-the-country trips taken by Hamlet during his brief tenure, the Auditor General initiated an inquiry of his own.
You certainly became aware of your reports on the trip to Cuba and other type of travel. That's when I jumped in, was because of that.
Our investigation found that in his 3 years as superintendent, Hamlet has taken 23 paid trips in all, at a cost to the district of more than $32,000. Places like Denver and Las Vegas, Vancouver and Miami. He's traveled to New Orleans, Chicago, and Los Angeles multiple times each, a total of 65 days out of state.
The list goes on and on and on, and we simply find that type of increase and that total cost simply inexcusable.
DePasquale's own probe found that under Hamlet, district travel has increased by 180%, an average of $24,250 a month with little or no justification.
Think about if we, instead of using that for out-of-state travel for the superintendent, that was used for an early learning program for the kids in the Hill District to try to learn how to read.
Most of Hamlet's paid trips have been to educational conferences, where the superintendent meets with educators and administrators from around the country. But some are sponsored by educational technology companies with whom the district now has contracts. In October, he spoke at this Chicago conference sponsored by the company Rethink Ed. In March, the board approved a $250,000 contract with that company. And in May, Hamlet hosted a panel discussion at this Chicago conference sponsored by Discovery Education. Earlier this year, the board approved a $1 million contract with the company and is reviewing another Discovery package worth $4 million more.
The idea that public officials, whether they be elected or appointed or anywhere in between, going out and basically being, in a sense, spokespeople for private vendors is questionable at best.
Now, DePasquale says neither Hamlet nor staff members submit reports on the reason for these trips or what they may have learned. He says that must change and this travel needs to be reined in. But this is just the first of 2 reports by the Auditor General, who's also looking into our other investigation into more than 36 no-bid contracts Hamlet has entered into with these educational technology companies. His staff has reviewed those contracts, and he tells me he is, quote, greatly concerned about what they are finding. Susan?